high-quality, detailed view of the lesion for your patients.
That's a medical legal nightmare of the video, by the way.
There's actually never been a case through the ACCC in New South Wales for any.
The mole match and full-body imaging tools are used to analyze high-level images on the big screen. Images are compared over time and corresponding lesions are matched to help detect new or changing lesions. DermEngine's Apple TV feature allows for real-time communication with any television display and serves as a powerful tool to enhance your clinic's workflow.
So the Apple TV version it can be implemented in a number of ways. We can do it via desktop, which is actually the most powerful element, and it's simply through a browser. Okay? The iPod Touch itself is a fantastic tool when you sit with the patient and use your fingers to pinch in and pinch out and show features. Really very useful. And the Apple TV module, we're evaluating the use of that. I am using it, I do use it, but I'm aware that, I don't think you particularly use it in yours, but we're just watching to see what we actually do with that element. It's just something we can bolt onto it. The next video I haven't watched, so I have no idea what's in it. Oh, maybe.
You have to have a microphone.
DermEngine's full-body imaging system offers physicians a comprehensive solution for total body photography. The software identifies lesions from the body part images and allows you to map them to your patient's body map. Lesions can be selected for mapping based on their size. The software crops the image around each lesion and adds the lesion to your patient's profile. Dermoscopy images can then be added to a mole profile. Annotations can be made and saved on each image. New images can be taken with the DermEngine app or uploaded from your computer.
So that bit's important for those with the database that exists already.
The mole match feature automatically detects and matches all lesions in both images. The slider can be used to show fewer or more pairs of lesions. Matched lesions are listed on the right to simplify the reviewing process. Clicking on one location on an image will highlight the corresponding point on the other image. The lesion pairs can be edited or deleted, and new pairs can be added as desired. The flicker tool warps the two images and helps identify new or changing lesions. New lesions can also be added to the body map for further review. Dermoscopy images can be added from your smartphone or uploaded from your computer.
Drag and drop. Simple, easy technology, which works.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. As long as it goes.
DermEngine's mobile app makes taking full-body images a breeze. The app provides a step-by-step guide for taking a full set of images. Images can also be added by body area. Mapped lesions are highlighted, and dermoscopy images can be added to each mole profile. Previously taken body images can be used as a template to guide full-body imaging.
So I think we're moving off into areas that we're not going to use. I use only a portion of that. I use it very simply. I use it for some element of full body photography, but I actually do very few body parts, usually a back on most patients, simply because they can't watch it for themselves, and individual lesion photographs. And that's really the most I use. I use very few of the advanced technical parts of it, but for that alone, it's well worth it. This is a page I most often find myself on. That's the mole matching app, which is very useful.
actually show some traction for if there's new users.
Yes, that's right. So, and this is useful time. So, again, remember that I'm in a new clinic, and I haven't got that month and year upon year patient coming back. But with time, as we've got examples which I've preloaded onto what we're going to use during lunchtime to demonstrate, we've got examples of patients who have come back where things have changed.
Will it show us if it's
Will do, yeah. So this is again just that flickering. So it's not just what they show on a big promotional video. That's just off my computer screen with my phone. It really works as simply as that. Again, come back to these images. They're good quality images. Okay? Ones that I can project to everybody here, and you can see. Okay? This is a great story. I'm going to tell this story before we go to lunch. Okay? This is a story of how the whole of Sun Doctors works well. Okay? In fact, perfectly. This is a guy called Noel, and Noel is a charming guy who just turned 77. And he was phoned by our patient relationship team in Sydney, and he was, well, how the hell did you get my phone number? That was his response. He was a bit put out by it, but he's a retired guy who's interested and a curious man by nature, and he thought he'd pop down to this local clinic and see what the hell all this was about. So he came down to the local clinic, okay, and he was charmed by the front desk staff, and the front desk staff convinced him, you know what, why not just stay and see the doctor? Well, you know, why not? Okay? So despite him being slightly put off by the whole process, he did. He stopped and chatted, and he showed me this one that I've eventually gone to do a full skin check. He showed me this one that his doctor had been watching. Okay? And I know this doctor. He's a local GP, and he's a very, very good GP. Okay? He's really top quality. Okay? But despite his quality and undoubted abilities, you cannot watch without photographs. Okay? And he'd been watching this one. This is what I saw on dermatoscopy. It was no less striking macroscopically. It stood out like the proverbials on his tummy. Okay? It really was an obvious lesion. Okay? And I pointed this out to him. I went through the areas I was worried with. I pinched into the regression area. I pinched it. I looked at everything with him. Okay? And convinced him this really wasn't something he should be carrying around with him, despite his trust for his GP. So we excised it with a 2mm margin. It came back. And I may or may not have sent this photograph to you, I'm not sure if this one in. Okay, but a fairly clear cut level 2 melanoma, 0.6 I believe from memory. Okay? And then we did the wider excision. Okay? From top to bottom, this guy is our biggest champion now. Okay? From top to bottom it worked. He was called out of the blue. Okay? He was convinced by the person on the phone to come to the clinic. Okay? He came to the clinic, was convinced to stay, got the skin check, was diagnosed, was treated, and that invasive melanoma was removed because the system worked in total. This one here. So this is one I did send to Ian to go with. This is a guy who, when I went to Probus to go and have a chat and spruik the new clinic, he's a guy who said, oh, whatever, you know, you're here, I'll come down and have a look. And had this growing on his arm, okay? With beautiful polygons, okay? And as Jeff commented in an email to me when we were discussing it, he said there's nothing without the polygons. And that's, apart from maybe there's such a darkness there, that's right, this is what makes the diagnosis. And it's picked up beautifully by Dermage. Okay? We want to zoom in. That's the original photograph. And you can zoom right into this basal cell cancer and look at the finest little detail. Not that you need to, but it's impressive nonetheless.
Johnny, we can't see over this side.
Oh, you can't see that
What were
side?
you pointing to?
Oh, so sorry.
Thanks.
Dermage works, but there's human error involved in all of this. So there's the vascular, all the vasculature. You can zoom right into that basal cell cancer. Is it useful for patients? Sometimes to convince them actually there's something going on there, okay? That's really why it's friable and bleeding. And that's why you should have taken off. And for teaching, fine. Okay? So what we have is powerful technology, and it is powerful technology. It's straightforward to use, okay? And it's built with you in mind. Really, we've taken the best part of a year to get this right. Okay? It is excellent, excellent user-friendly technology that is integrated into what you do and won't take over from what you do during consultation. Okay? There are compelling reasons to use it, I would say. Okay? Medical reasons, patient care reasons, business building reasons. Okay? And it's ours, just ours. Okay? We should be using this. So, we will have lunch in 1 minute, but I'm very happy to take questions and we'll demonstrate during lunch. Peregrine, go first.
Because I used to have one of these sort of
I will do the microphone. Hang on a
You've got
second.
to upgrade the phone every time. No, I'm not talking about. I could do that too.
Yes.
This makes that very easy. It reinforces to the patient that you're taking their concerns seriously.
Yeah.
Even if you say, look, no, I think it's just a separate cable or whatever, we've all been surprised by separate cables.
I take it.
Yeah, absolutely right. So the point is true, and I would often say to the patient, look, this doesn't worry me, but obviously it concerns you. Let's just get a quick picture. And it is a quick picture. The job is done, they
It
felt
doesn't take
tired,
time, I
we've
agree.
got what we need. Okay? Sorry, we'll switch the microphone, we'll come out.
Johnny, so is that stored separately to best practices? That's stored?
Yes. Yes, that is. Okay, so the question is whether that's stored separately to best practice and how easy is it to switch between programs. It's very easy. This sits open on a browser. The images sit in a separate server. And again, just to give you some background, one of the things they didn't realise in Canada were the Privacy Act rules in Australia about having patient data onshore. So we have an onshore server. That data sits there. We have backups of it, but you flick between. The images do not sit in best practice, they sit alongside best practice. I prefer it that way, in that we've got redundancy in the system. If one system goes down, we've always got the other system.
It's better if it's in the patient notes version.
Jeff was talking about medico-legal with melanomas that are watched over time, Jeff. I couldn't quite, during the talk.
Yeah, sorry. Some people may not know I've got a role in the expert panel of the HCCC in New South Wales, and the time I've been involved with it, we've never had a case of misdiagnosis of melanoma associated with people imaging it and then being told, oh, you should have diagnosed it the first time. Nearly all the time they're difficult melanomas, and there's never been a case of a complaint. And I think even if there was one, it would be extremely successfully defended if you look at what is the standard of diagnostic care at that time expected of peers as well. Yeah. So don't be afraid of, because often known as, I'm not going to take a photograph because it might prove that I've missed a melanoma. That is actually a screw up. All the melanomas that you find by this method are thinner, more difficult, and you will be doing the patient a favour more by photographing than by not. So I think overall you will be doing, I think what they're supposed to do was supposed to do no evil.
So I'm going to comment on that. So number one to say is that to some extent we're preaching here to the converted, because vast majority of people here actually do take images, and those who don't will probably do it if it was just easier to do it, which hopefully this is. What we want is to almost evangelize, so for you to go out and tell those colleagues who don't take photographs, they need to take photographs. And that's also even GPs. Okay? GPs can also take photographs and do right by their patients. Okay? So people outside skin cancer practice alone. Okay? So we want you to spread that message. So that's one of the reasons we're telling you. The thing about case law is that case law is dynamic and not static. So the fact that it hasn't happened so far doesn't mean that it won't happen. But as Jeff says, you get judged against your peers. And our peers, by definition, are general practitioners. Okay? Because there is no specialist area of skin cancer with general practice. So you're being compared with people who don't take photographs, who do low-level skin cancer care very often. Okay? So the burden of proof to convict you of anything is very low. So please do not be scared to image things, because on balance, vastly, abundantly, you'll be helping people.
I'm very interested in the Apple TV because I use a Molmax at the moment, and I have it streamed onto 2 large monitors on the practice, and we're showing the patients as they go and explaining and demonstrating that we actually know something about sleep by describing their SEPCAs to them and describing the hemangiomas. That's something they actually never had a little bit of information get given by their GPs. We usually sort of say, oh, that's nothing, don't worry about that, that's nothing. And patients actually want to know. When you can show and demonstrate that, I mean, they think that you really are a bit of a tolerance. Well, I don't say that I am. But what I mean is that they really do get an idea of what your level of expertise is. So I really hope that that's going to be something that's going to get rolled out with this. And the other thing that's really good with those kind of things is when you've got that image, you're trying to get consent for a complex procedure, then you can actually, I use the plastic overlay, you can actually draw your procedure on the image of the patient's face, and what you're going to do with this VY flap or this H flap, and it really gets very good informed consent even if it's not written. And lastly, when and how are we getting this?
Okay, so in order, Apple TV, not that it will be rolled out, it has been rolled out. It's actually up and running on the walls in my